Wrestling taught me that it's okay to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be comfortable 100% in your life, no matter what, and it's like, that's fine, that's okay. Find a way, and you just have to do it. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable. At the time, it was devastating, but it was my whole world ripped away because I didn't have school. I wasn't in school. I didn't have a degree to fall back on. I had a GED. I didn't even have a high school diploma, and that was my wake up moment to where it was like wrestling was my life. I started when I was 5. I could probably count on one hand in elementary school how many girls were wrestling at the time. And so my club coaches growing up, I would not be where I'm at without them, being so accepting. And I had the opportunity after my junior year of high school to go on to the Olympic Education Center. So after a month when I was there, I tore my ACL for the first time and flew back home to Portland and had my first surgery. I was out there for about 13 months and then I moved home. I got into a car accident. I got T-boned and the airbag didn't deploy and my face hit the steering wheel. Orbital fracture. I couldn't open my eye after I think 6 or 8 months. After that car accident, they told me I'd never wrestle again. And I will never forget being in that doctor's office and then telling me, like, your career's over. I didn't accept that, and it was a lot of begging and pleading with the doctors, and finally we came to an understanding that I can start to train again and compete again, but I had to wear a face mask. And then I heard that this school in Oklahoma was opening up a program.
Melissa did send her application in, and I looked at it and went, oh God, this girl's not getting into OCU. She's got a GED, and oh my gosh, she's got all these injuries. And I said, well, we'll just put her on the back burner and maybe she'll walk on later, right? Well, the state chairman from Washington, Chuck Bullard, he was a really good friend of mine. He called me. He said, look, man, we've been friends for a long time. Can you give this girl a break? And she's done this and she's done that. And I said, yeah, but she did have an accident and she got hurt pretty bad. And he started explaining to me the situation, what happened to her. So, I decided that this would be worth a try because Chuck Bullard is not going to steer it long.
Let me just get a little perspective on her injuries. I mean, number one, an ACL tear. In a young person, it's a devastating injury, hard to come back from. And then on top of that, when she's rehabbing, then she's in a motor vehicle accident. That's a devastating injury. From orbital fracture and then a detached retina, that's a bad injury. Then, on top of that, re-tearing your ACL. It's almost a game over type thing. Never complained, you never heard her whine. It was just put your head down, very determined, got the job done. She was a joy to work with.
When you have a group or team of any kind, right, you have to have some type of team leader that leads without yelling and screaming, but leads by example. She's one of those. She didn't worry about what was injured. She didn't worry about what was hurt. She was going to compete, and she was going to compete the best of her ability.
I was a college national champion. I won Fargo 2 times and university national champion. And on top of that, national duels champion. Our team won nationals. And looking back now, it's like I'm like old, retired and everything. And that's something that you can brag about for the rest of your life.
And working machine. Hey, I need you to do this. Okay, working machine. And then she left to North Carolina State because she did a good job.
She couldn't go on anymore because of, having multiple surgeries is a setback in her career. So someone that is still hungry to be ultra successful in the sport of wrestling, there's no better way to give back than to get into the coaching side of things, administrative side of things, and that's exactly what she was able to do. She carried that passion here at NC State, and it carried over to the guys.
Before I moved out to NC State, I was the head men's and women's coach here. And so it was hard. It was hard. Coach Randall was since 2007, for 7 or 8 years of my career. He was my coach, my mentor. So going out there and having Pat, I was a little bit scared at first, but then I was like, okay, all right, no, we're intense. I can do this, you know.
There's no question in my mind NC State Wrestling is not where it's at today without having Melissa Simmons here. That just goes back to all her hard work, her commitment, and it's an honor for us to say that she worked here at NC State, see her where she's, you know, can now be inducted to the Hall of Fame.
I mean, this is like the highest honor. My career fell short due to injuries and things out of my control. So I mean, I'm very humble and very grateful for this. I'm kind of speechless, and it still hasn't really sunk in that I'm gonna be in the as Dr. Hines and I call us, the Big Boy Hall of Fame.